Hello everyone. Eason, hello Magnus, CJ and Hyperion. Welcome.
Okay.
This is the third ever episode and the first one that's actually going to go live out on Twitch. So 3 under the belt, we're feeling good. Today we're going to be talking about the Idris event that's going on and harking back to the F8C. And we all really want to get hands on this Idris M. I certainly do. Even though I've got an Idris P sat in the hangar, collecting dust after a little while. But yeah, so how are you guys getting on? Have you seen one in the verse?
No.
Absolutely not.
I did see
I have
one.
not seen a single one.
I did see one, and there was an org that was hell-bent on stopping every player from going near it. So yeah, seen one, and in about 2 days of gameplay, haven't seen another one since.
I have not seen one.
I've seen plenty of Idris clips from YouTube, but that's about it.
Yeah, I see a lot of streamers seeing one.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, he's going for the juice early. He's going.
Seems to be some
And
truth to the streamers. To the getting access to see them. That seems to be some accuracy to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about it all at the moment? Like, I mean, the F8C event, I think the golden ticket was fantastic. The platinum ticket was interesting.
I got in on the platinum ticket 3 times, so I didn't get it, but I got on it 3 times.
Platinum ticket for the F8 had potential.
Yeah, I have not seen the Idris yet, so.
I mean, the F8C one went quite well for us, as no, we all managed to get in, didn't we? And I was on the body in space. I had the body in front of me. It was right there. I equipped the armor, and the backpack just disappeared. I'm still thinking if I'd just got back in my ship then, instead of trying to put it back out and put it back on to get it to spawn, if I'd have just got in my ship and gone, would it have caught up with me? Would I have had a head start on the community? But alas.
Didn't the devs reset it though on that one?
That was the
30 seconds later.
Quite a few times, yeah. But do you remember when it got loose in space and you had your backpack there? The amount of people that were just using the Hercules C2 and just opened the bays and were just trying to scoop it. So if you were EVAing out trying to get this corpse, I had a C2 come straight at me and my character just went straight through the hangar when it was going way over SCM speed. And I just managed to not hit the sides and I went straight through it. And I was just like, because I was so close to a platinum ticket, but I didn't manage to get it because I eventually did get splat on the windscreen of a C2, which, is crazy.
It's an unfortunate
splat on the windscreen. Suppose you didn't get a splat on the windscreen of a Herald because I was just full speed diving at the marker every time.
There's no point to that. Oh, so maybe you're the one that took me out.
More than no, actually no, I was near you.
So those that aren't in the org that don't have a sort of like a deep knowledge of how we work, so our events are fair. So if we split across multiple servers and one person finds the address, then we help that person try and get in the seat. I was fortunate enough to get a message whilst I was trying to get to sleep the other night from one of our members, and I trotted off down the stairs and logged in, and I was already set up. Shortly after, the wiper took everything up to Everest Harbour in the C2, equipped all my ships that I wanted to have at readiness, and set my spawn point there because I thought, well, I'm going to be central in the verse at that point and give myself the best fighting chance to get that ship. So it was over in Microtech, and the after action review from that, just how many streamers and how many content creators were there was outstanding. Most notably, Ollie43 was there. Big shout out to Ollie, great guy. And we had a bit of to and fro on Twitter. It was like he'd been like looking for one. I said we found one. He's like, I'm in that shot, and then I looked at his stuff and I was in his shot, and then he captured the moment where I died, unfortunately. But so let's crack on. We touched upon it already. Is it fair? Streamers using their audiences, shall we say, accepting invitations into a group to go Idris hunting in the attempts to place the streamer on the seat.
What are we doing? Are we trying to are we omitting names here?
We are
What's
omitting
happening?
names, of course we are.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I don't want to. But okay, fine. I'll be the nice guy. I won't say anything, right? I won't yeah. I'll just leave that to myself.
Mm.
I think at this moment in time, it's fair because most of the time it's playing within the rules of that's it. It's not fair on the morally on the wider community, but there aren't rules to say that you can't fight in an org of 5 people. So they're just abusing a mechanic that's there. It should have been done slightly different to make it more accessible, but it's what it is. It's all it is.
Go ahead, Magnus, and then I'll have my say.
As far as them using their audience, I don't think I have a problem with that. I don't think that's bad. What I think with the F8 thing was it wasn't just their audience that was giving them. They have, and this is just an opinion. I could be wrong, but they have devs as friends in the game, and then they can just log in on their dev friends server. And if they know what dev is doing it, they can do it. I could be 100% wrong on that. I don't know. I'm gonna go with it's probably pretty close.
We have heard that be like in certain situations. We have heard actual streamers like mention that they know someone and they've grouped up with them. In terms of is it fair? Well, it's a tricky one for me because whilst I can understand and I totally agree because I love this project and I think it's fantastic and I think there's a completely different way of building a game, so they've got to look at every opportunity of free marketing. It's like on the grey line for fair for me. I'm probably going to lean more on the side of no because an email or 2 emails were dropped to the whole community saying there was an Idris event. Now, the amount of people that have like, stopped things this weekend to play that event and try and find the Idris and haven't even encountered a single Idris across the whole of the weekend. Some people probably very passionate about this game would have wiped their slates clean for the weekend and just gone, I want to play this, I want to be there. And all we're just seeing is streamers getting the action. Now, that's not fair in my books. But it's probably very positive for the game. But we're also seeing that there's a lot of people in the community that are disappointed in it. So that's where I think debate is needed.
Well, I mean, streamers, they, the ones that are named after their plants, the ones that have an emotion while playing a game that you place on the table, right? They all get a certain level of they get a certain level of privilege, I guess you call it, right? And not in that, but in that they get their questions answered, right? If they have a question, they know someone that has an in, or again, in events like this one, when there is something that's being ran by CIG devs, they can just join on them when they see that they're in the verse, like, okay, well, here's one, and that gives them an unintended advantage. But I think it should be something whereas like CIG devs do not friend people, anyone other than other CIG devs, right?
Or they
at
have
least
accounts.
Right, at least in the game, because I think it does give them an unfair advantage towards other things, right? I mean, I have a gripe about the javelin, right? I
What's
really
your gripe?
Because so the javelin, right? It's a what is it? $2,000 to.
It's gorgeous what it is.
No, it is, but I'm saying monetarily, it's $2,000 or however much it is, right?
2,500.
And then $2,500. So we'll go with that.
I think.
And then there's streamers that if you get I think it's 2,000 referrals, then you get a javelin.
2042.
2,042 referrals, then you get a javelin. Which I think is I'm pretty sure CIG's standpoint is, well, yeah, this is the standard for everyone, right? But there are certain people that are in that that category that could care less about the ship, and then there are others that are, maybe they don't have as much disposable income or whatever. And it's just, again, it's kind of getting off topic, but yes, in the realm of the topic, yes, streamers do have an unfair advantage when it comes to events like this, even though, let me go on the record in saying, I like this event. In my opinion, the community is making this a bad event.
Ooh, okay.
Spin. The spin is on. Okay, so how do you prevent that?
Well, so it's kind of hard, right? Like, if, for instance,
Can I just interject quickly,
Go ahead.
because we're trying to figure out what the problem is, but we haven't clarified the point of what is actually wrong, what the community is doing wrong with this event in order to think of a solution.
That's
Well,
fair.
and so that was going to be part of my answer, right?
Okay, perfect.
So perfect example with the server the other day where we had the Idris and I believe it was the organization that starts with a V and ends with an ARD, was protecting it, right?
Yeah.
What the CIG devs on board the Idris should have done was kill them.
All of them.
And I say and I say that because they're on the Idris, right? They're watching in chat the same way we were watching in chat what was going on and how Vanguard was pretty much saying like, yeah, we're keeping people away from it and this, declaring it an RP only server and all this other kind of stuff, and no one could get near it, right? Well, the CIG devs, instead of quitting like they did and they just, despawned the damn ship, they should have just turned the ship to bear on them, killed them. So in that way, you level the playing field again, and you made it very clear that it's an event for everyone, and you're not just sitting there on the ship, allowing this organic gameplay to take place when you put an event in the game that is not necessarily organic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That would have been fun to watch.
Did they make the reason why they were preventing people from approaching obvious, or were they like holding it for someone to come onto the server?
They were saying it was a RP only. They were declaring it an RP server. And then they never said exactly why they were keeping people away from it, but I know some of our org mates tried to go and they were shot on site. There was no reason, no rhyme or reason, but they kept everyone away from the Idris, but they made zero attempt to board the Idris.
It's really strange.
Maybe it would be different if they were legit about the RP side of it. Maybe someone on our side should have actually reached out over chat, which didn't actually happen, which is something I feel it needs to be said. But that being said, we didn't even have time to press enter to open the chat before we were near the Idris, and we had their fighters all over us. So, and there was other players that weren't in our group that were also getting shot down by this particular org. So it wasn't just us; it was also other people, solo people, like. So that was interesting. I've tried to speak with a lot of people about this event because I think some of these events that they do ruffle a lot of feathers, but they're also some of the most engaging events that I've seen any game do, which is really exciting because I really have high hopes for this project. And I think there's definitely room for a gold ticket style event to release ships in game. I think they should use more of the fairness and the reward system of Xenothreat. I thought Xenothreat was really successful. How you could get CDF armor bound to your hangar if you took part in the event. It was exclusive to specific event, and you had to be there to earn it. But that stuck with you if you had it. So it was more accessible, and I think that's one thing that I would like to see with these events is be more accessible to the people that actually take part. But maybe I'm just being a Care Bear.
Well, what I would like to, they should have dropped it on every server instead of just putting it on one server at a time. And
Yeah,
I know that's the best way to get the most people to try it out, but
Yeah, it's how many CIG devs were on an Idris, roughly? I heard it was like 8. 6 to 8.
I think it was. I heard 8 to 10, but I mean either way, right?
Okay,
like
8 to 10. So that means almost none of the turrets on the Idris were operated fully.
Yep.
By humans. So, say for example, you've got AI ships. You can have AI turret gunners in them. What about if those 8 to 10 CIG devs went onto different servers, each piloted an Idris, fully crewed with NPC turret gunners the whole way through? And the event was if you could boarded on the ship, if you physically boarded, you would get something called Spectrum badge, an Idris poster. You know, they love handing out posters recently.
Blackjack would be good.
Or something. So something like that where it's they're focusing on the main prize being given away in Idris. Why don't you just make it like 100 smaller prizes, and you can actually have a community-based event rather than a marketing-based event? And
well, you didn't get to keep the Idris at the end of this, right? I mean, you flew it around a little bit.
No,
Well, no,
so
there
is a
the person that is the person that logs the most time in the pilot seat of the Idris gets given an Idris M.
Ah.
The reason why that's consequential is just because the Idris M is not purchasable unless you the Praetorian pack.
That's
but you know what I mean, like.
That's why there's issues with orgs like SynCronus and stuff doing it, because they can basically buy out the whole server. They can join a server and just flood it with their minions, and no one else can actually get on the ship if they wanted to. So that's completely free for them to now have hours and hours in an Idris in combat, because one of the rules are now you have to be in active combat. But what does that entail? Being shot at by one person or something? Whatever. But yeah, that's I think why the biggest issue with it being tailored towards a streamer marketing event rather than just a community event.
I think, considering we're still in alpha and that we're not even at beta stage yet, we have the community still has the capacity to grow. So if they made this event a bit more exclusive, and I agree that that's the main thing. It really needs to be more accessible. So Idrises should be on all servers, and I don't think there must be a way that they could have it so the Idrises are just crewed by NPCs, and just spawn support ships with it to protect it. But every server to have like a fleet that's moving like they have on Invictus, where they have the fleet move to different stations and stuff like that. Every server, when you log in, there's this fleet. If you manage to tackle the fleet with the server and get on board and get inside the bridge, then that should open up the ability for anyone that was inside the bridge for, say 10 minutes. It opens up the ability for them to buy the Idris M, which is a very limited ship in the store. I think that would be good. Not everyone would buy it because it's very expensive, but for those that want to do it and get engaged with the event, that would be great. Not just one person. That's just toxic in my opinion.
Well,
so word on the street before this really began is the Idrises that are CIG led are getting out into the verse. The ones that are AI are actually piling into planets. So that's not been corroborated. It's just the word that's out there on the street is there's not actually that many AI controlled ones that are actually getting into the actual event space to be taken over. That's why we were apparently not seeing many of them. But yeah, completely think like on my side of things, AI across the board spawned into every server at that time. and then from there it is a fight like who can control it the longest, and then it's scored almost like the Atmo esports style things where they place all the server times together, and those that have sat in it the longest are the ones that get the ships.
So what's similar to how they're doing it now?
No, it's the longest time on that server, not across the servers.
And again, if they were gonna do something like this, right? CIG has the money for overtime. Crewing an Idris doesn't require you to be in the office, right? So if you were gonna do this for this, uh period of time, you do it in shifts, do it in waves. Like, hey, we're doing this event. It's only really gonna require maybe an hour or two out of your day. I need you to, and we can rotate. Then and kind of they could keep that presence ever present and through the different time zones. You know what I mean? Because if they're doing it based off of Manchester time, then okay, then they're doing it based on your day, which leaves the United States pretty much kind of out of it because by the end of your day, it's like the beginning, middle of our day, and you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
there were things that they could have done that could have made it a little more fair. Again, my biggest gripe is completely is the fact that people that have CIG devs on their friends list have an advantage, and B, community community larpers getting in the way. I want to be Admiral so and so. Yeah, relax. It's an event. Cut it out. Like, no one's asking you to do any of this. You're like, I think it just kind of irritates me because you're intentionally getting in somebody's freaking way.
Yeah.
For your own entertainment. And it's like, yeah, somebody else wants to do something. Somebody wants to, and I get it. It's part of the whole sandbox gameplay, right? I completely understand that. However, it's just, again, like I said, if I was in that Idris, I would have turned the railgun to the first ship I could see from the organization that started with an V and ended with an Ard, and blew it out of the sky. That just would have been me. Like, hey, stop doing that, or at least put a notification in chat, like, hey, stop, we don't need your protection. Either attack us or move on.
Yeah.
See, I guess I don't have a problem with what they did. I mean, I can understand why some people be upset, especially when it's a big org that can hold a server down. I guess I just don't have a problem. I am the I think you need an org to do everything in the game guy. So I'm going to clue this in. I think that as far as orgs being able to get on all at once and hold it and keep everyone else from getting in there, I mean that's what orgs are all about, right?
Yep.
So I don't have a problem with that. Oh, it's one MIA.
Oh,
there.
You're back.
So I don't know. That's me.
I'm
more about the big orgs being able to control everything than a lot of other people are. So
yeah, I want to add on from that because there's the thing of sort of like orgs. I don't know. Is it orgs really running the show right now? I don't think it is. I think it's streamers with their gaggle of troops that are just following them doing that. I mean, yes, there's probably orgs doing stuff. I'll be a bit more happier with it when we get org org tools 2.0 or whatever it is that CIG has on the way, because the communication systems in game, they're still in like their first iteration, so you just have global chat and party chat, and then that's it. There's no real way of sort of pulling everyone together that doesn't have an org into one group so they can actually coordinate and attack something. If they do it in global chat, people can read it. If they're doing it in party chat, I think reputation systems and new org tools will be really useful, and I'd really look forward to that sort of stuff because it'll make events like this a lot easier for equal sides.
Just a heads up, this is going to be the last year that they can do anything like that for the most part.
Potentially, yeah.
So you're just because you have a giant org, you're not going to be able to hold the server unless your org is super big. Because assuming all goes well next year, we're all on one server.
That's the point I'm thinking about making now. Is the event itself that is being run is a really good event. It can be an awesome event. It is a meshed server event. It's not the current state of the game that we're in now, where it's 100 players max, whatever, on a server. With the Idris flying around, your server's probably going to balk down to 40 people max anyway. But server meshed, when you're talking about 1,000 people fighting each other, more, maybe less. I think the streamer org, dare I say org, actually, the streamer groups are going to get swamped by orgs when that becomes a thing. Actual orgs, and especially when you can have like org alliances as well. So a couple of orgs working together, those streamer orgs are just going to get smashed. Unless, obviously, I don't know, they do a streamer group, a little boy band, and then they can group all their minions together. But
Streamer
I think,
Alliance.
yeah, streamer alliance. It's just going to be streamer versus community. But I think the event itself is an awesome event. It's great. I don't think the prize should be the Idris. I think it should be what we were talking in lines of cosmetics, something smaller. Maybe the option to purchase, I don't know, a one-off armor set. If you got in the pilot seat of an Idris, you got a poster and the ability to buy in like the subscriber store, like a Gucci set of armor or something like that. Something that gave people the ability to grind to get in there.
Yeah.
But also gave CIG a bit of money incoming, a little bit, not a lot. But I feel like it is a meshed server event.
But I just have to follow up on what you said, because you said this event is great. Yet I feel like 80% of the people I've spoken to haven't seen an Idris, yet they received 2 emails from CIG saying that there's an Idris event on. And I think that sends the wrong message, because people go, oh, there's an event, we can go play. There's actually, there's new content, let's go do it. And they turn up and they're looking at everyone, and everyone's looking at each other going, we can't find one.
Well, I think so. Just to go on that, I agree with CJ. This is a good event. I think it was poorly executed.
Yeah.
For this time,
Yeah.
I think what was supposed to happen, like Justify says, they have the tools to make a good dynamic event. He's talking in our chat there, in case somebody didn't know. Hey, Justified. So they have the tools to make a good dynamic event. Why didn't they do it and wait until it was ready to go out before putting it out? I think they rushed it out for some reason I don't understand, because they don't need any more hopium right now, and they just got a big infusion of cash, so I hate to use the marketing as an excuse. So I don't understand why they rushed it out. They could have waited, put this event out when it was done, made it something that is a dynamic event that could be spawned by people doing things on the server, and I don't know why they did.
Well, it goes back to it, and again, so 2 things, right? I don't want to make it seem like, I think that we're in agreement and saying that, we're not trying to vilify streamers, right? Speaking on their, and I hate using this word, but privilege, right? Doesn't necessarily no one's trying to
They've
vilify
worked hard to
streamers.
get there. They've worked hard to
Right.
get there.
Right. No one wants to take away from any of their work, and CIG is they cannot, as Keiko said, right? How it seems weird that CIG haven't noticed the power of their FOMO, both with the gameplay and with marketing. Again, it's kind of the same old, the age-old adage with the F8, right? People were angry about the F8 being released for people to get, but it's like people that had it prior to. If you were going to put it in the game, then you should have given it to the people that had it prior to, and not when a ticket came out You know, if it was ready to put in the game, then you should have put it in the game, and the people that spent that, you know, sum of money prior to should have had it. And then you come up with your event and you give it, you know, hey, you know, if you find this ticket, you can get one too, and you can get it for 200 and however much it was, and not piss off the people that spent, you know, 15,000 of whatever currency it was.
That's,
You know what I
that's for
mean?
the
Idris
luxury
M came
ones.
out, it was 1,000. It was 1,000, I think. If there's someone in chat that knows, or someone in the audience that knows what the original price of the Idris M was
Or can research
back
it.
in
No.
2000.
No. I was talking about the F8.
Yeah, the F8.
Oh, the
Right.
F8.
I was comparing
Right.
the F8 to the Idris thing, right? Like, you know, people spent $15,000 and they got an F8 executive, or they spent $10,000 and they got an F8 normal, and then they come out with an event that says, hey, by the way, all you got to do is go look through chests and you get this thing, and you can unlock the ability to buy an F8 for $230, and it's like, are you, you know, there's no way that they couldn't look at that and think, wow, people that actually devoted capital into the division of this game would not take that as a slap in the face. And yet again with the Idris, right? The Idris M is, as far as purchasing wise, is non-existent unless you have a Praetorian pack or a Legatus pack, right? That's what it is now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no maybe ways around it. They don't even sell it anymore during Invictus or during what is it, IE. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, you came out with this event to get one person the ability to get given one, and the only people that have a leg up are the people that know when you're online. It's irritating, and they really have to see that it's like it's not good for business, right? When you
And do you
alienate
know
the
why
little
it's
guys.
irritating? Because it's not fair.
Well,
think-
yeah, and well, it's just, you know, the majority of the people that Backstar Citizen,
Yeah.
you know, and let's just be very clear, the majority of people that Backstar Citizen are not streamers.
Yeah.
Right. If you watch any streamer's video, they will tell you that they don't put any real money into the game.
Yeah.
They don't, you know, they don't have a Praetorian pack. They don't have, you know, they haven't spent thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars back in the game. Most of them I am willing to wager don't even subscribe.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you know, your base is the little guy, right? The person that chooses to buy your new ship whenever it comes out for concept. The person that chooses to stay subscribed. And granted, yes, these are all choices, but I think, you know, when does the little guy get their due? Right? When do they get their leg up over the people that are really, honestly and truthfully, only giving you free publicity?
Right.
That's it.
I think that there's and I say it's not fair, and I don't want to be called out as being the person that's like whining about this stuff, because honestly, I enjoy these events, but they could be done massively better, and I know that life's not fair. But the issue is that you'll have situations where a single streamer will get onto a server. There'll be a team of people that have played the game and they're already doing quite well, but then all of a sudden, the followers of this streamer will start seeing other people's names on that server and will start sending them spamming friend requests so that they can try and get on. And that's an intrusive mechanic to try and kick people out of the server that should already rightfully have the chance to be in there without this group like getting in. And that's the stuff that I think needs to be policed a bit more. It can't be policed, but you know, the only way they do this is by making an NPC fleet, putting it in the middle of nowhere so it doesn't fall into the planet's gravity well, and then they put like a load of boss NPCs and they buff them up so that when people get on board, it's difficult. And then the one NPC on the bridge has that, you know, ticket on him or something like that. So it's the first person that gets him and kills him gets to use that ticket.
I'd like to make that a bit better, actually. So you've got these spaces, and we know we can just drop out of quantum in places. So even if they put it in the middle of nowhere, people are still sort of able to get close. But if you made it a beacon that pings every 5 minutes or something, so it was there 5 minutes ago, then it was there 5 minutes ago, and people start like worming their way through, it gives people a slightly better fighting chance. But I mean, this is meant to be a community event, and as soon as it kicked off, I was at work and I was like, right, I'm gonna see, if anyone's having any luck. And I was watching a gang of about 5 friends, just out and about, and they come across one. One spawned on their server, and they were there. They were fighting it, and then a couple other showed up, and it was cool. They were like, as long as everyone's using distortion weapons, that's cool. We want to get on this. And they managed to disable it, board it, and they are fighting with the NPCs on board. I think it's like 30 of them, heavy armor, and then one of them dies. But he's the guy who's providing the point of view. But you can hear the others still battling it out. And then they died on the bridge. And one of them yells out, Detox is here. He's on the bridge. And you just heard the crushing defeat of these poor guys' hearts because they know they've been ganked. They know that there's a server on, a stream on there, on the server with maximum firearms to bear. They're never going to get anywhere. So how do you improve this? I'd like to look at events such as the Sea of Thieves Hoarders Hunt, where they introduced a real life element to it with crypto keys and puzzles and did it that way. You could even go as far as just planting an Idris on a surface somewhere, leaving it open, and then you're going to have maximum participation. People flying in on their own over planets trying to ping to find this Idris. And if you make it it's only detectable within 5 kilometers, it's going to take a bloody long time to find that. And once you have much larger servers, once you get server meshing in, you make it a piece of subscriber flare, a little bobblehead. Find this purple bobblehead in the verse. Could be anywhere. Find it, you get that Idris. I think there's other ways to do it where you can really take it down to the little man and give everyone that little bit of fire in their belly to go out into the verse and try and find it.
I like that idea. How much will data miners or those people that can get the darkest secrets out of the game, how much of a problem will they create for that sort of stuff? I'm a huge advocate. I know AI has got a long way to go, especially with server FPS. I would love to see a huge fleet that's just there ready, and if we rocked up with our small sort of 200-man fleet,
Small.
that we probably wouldn't make it. We need to band up with the rest of the server in order to get it. I think that's the main thing. I think they need to make the rewards decent enough so that the whole system bands together because they want to do it. I think
You just said a keyword there. So they want everything in the game to go more towards an org-based environment. And there's they're focusing on multi-role ships. They're focusing on events that require groups of people to do. You said banding people together. Then I think your idea, I can picture it now, a fucking ginormous fleet. Apologies for the swear word. Write that time down. A ginormous fleet. And in the middle of it is an Idris, and there's hammerheads, there's everything like that. It's all AI controlled, all sitting at Terra Jump Point. They are doing the old school PO lockdown. They are doing a lockdown of the jump point of this entire fleet. And the fleet is big enough where everybody on the server has to work together. And if, for example, you are in the area of the Idris when it gets taken out, gets boarded, gets destroyed, whatever, you can then get that token of participation, your Spectrum badge, whatever, all that sort of stuff. I think that would be really good is if they had it at a dynamic event where it was. I think they need to use the PO takeover sort of event where they just swarm Seraphim with Idrises and all that sort of stuff, and then the server has to work together and clear them out.
Yeah.
And if you do, then you get something. If you don't, then whatever. If a streamer gets online, cool. Jump in his chat, say, "Can I help?" Get added to the party.
You know what we're discussing now? We're discussing about incentives, and there's one thing, and I'm going to drop it again. And I always drop this game into the chat. The Star Wars Galaxies had a very interesting PvP system. If any of you that are listening ever did like PvP on Restus, you would go, you'd take out players of the opposite faction, Empire or Rebel, and then there would be like these tokens that you could use. You get points, GCW points, which was Galactic Civil War points, that you could then take to a vendor and purchase items for it. And I think that's one of the things, especially when we have systems on the way like Quanta and really interesting tools that could. I mean, you see all these wonderful emails they send out about this was the Xenothreat event. X amount of players used the Gladius to kill X amount of Xenothreat. And they have all these wonderful statistics. We know they've got a way to view these statistics in game. Like when they can dial that in a bit more to a point in which potentially they can see, right, this player has killed X amount of Xenothreat here, or even making a points-based system so that you can register this player has accrued X amount of points in this event, they can get these rewards. They're bound to his hangar. Like, I think that would be really interesting, and having it both rewards for one side and rewards for another, just to sort of, if people did want to go the unlawful side or the lawful side, they could pick or choose. That would be really interesting for me because yeah, sorry.
Isn't that what faction is? I mean, that the
reputation and
reputation points. Yeah, that's just what that's going to be.
Hopefully.
I don't know. Are we talking about mission ideas, or I mean, we just talking about these events right here, right?
Well, I think it's indicative of a problem at large, right? I think CIG, they, and I'm not trying to white knight this at all, but CIG, they put a lot into the events, at least to the idea, right, and the implementation, but a lot of it is made or broken on the community, right? For instance, what was it? Nine Tails Lockdown, right? Nine Tails Lockdown. I personally didn't think it was a bad event. Dave marked it as a failure because it had record low participation.
Really? I love that event.
That's good.
People hated it apparently, so they changed it.
Okay.
They turned it into something completely different that they're gonna be releasing here, I guess, in the future. But they changed it, and it was like, well, why'd they change it? Why'd they change it? They changed it because people were not interested in fighting. They weren't interested in progressing with whatever little mini story was. They were just interested in taking their C2 or M2 full of medical supplies and doing that as much as possible because they were taking advantage of the server's low tick rate, so the AI weren't responsive. And if I just beeline it into the station, no matter how far out it dropped me, I can make it there and not really worry about it. The only thing you had to worry about. Right. The only thing you had to worry about was if there was a person with an eclipse or something, or a retaliator sitting close to the station, blowing you up prior to you landing or while you were in your hangar. Right. That was the only thing that you had to worry about. It just completely it circumvented the point of the whole mission. Right. Which is why I think a lot of it has to be a little more on rails. But a lot of these events will be made or broken by the community, right? Freaking what is it? Jumptown. Perfect example. Jumptown, they were like, hey, we'll do this thing, we'll incentivize it with, you can go sell these drugs and get a lot of money. What do people do? People either make it super friendly, like, hey, we can all take turns and we can each grab a box and yada yada yada, this and the third, or someone says, to hell with all that. I'm gonna bring my A2 in, and I'm glassing everybody because I don't care. I just want to ruin your fun. That's all I want to do. I don't care about what you're doing. I don't care to gain anything from it. I just want to make sure you don't gain anything from it. The amount of Jumptown events that took place that were legitimately what they wanted paled in comparison to either one of my previous two examples, right? Xenothreat usually works pretty well, but Xenothreat is on rails. Xenothreat it leaves a lot less room for error. It leaves a lot less room for community intervention to kind of throw it off. right? I was with the most recent event, the Aegis event. I was reading something where someone was talking about how the Aegis was almost distortioned or whatever, and they were about to board, and some guy just got irritated because he couldn't do something, and he just took his ship and just, and it's like, why, right? Why? Why? The answer to the why is because you could. It's because he could. You know what I mean? That's exactly why, because he could. And so ultimately, people can sit here and put a lot of the onus on CIG. I won't put so much of the onus on CIG. I really won't. I put a lot of the onus on the community. I really do. Well, obviously I put the onus about the whole availability of the Age of Salmon and all that kind of good stuff on them. But as far as the enjoyment of the event, it's definitely like an 80-20 split. 80 being the community's reason. The community is the reason why people aren't enjoying the event.
I think you are slightly different. You are blaming the community almost, but I think it's the other way around. That the thing is with starters, and I don't know what the tagline is, and someone can correct me, but the tagline is, if you can do it, like if you, someone's going to know what I'm saying. If it's there, you can do it, kind of thing. That's like the whole.
It fits.
Yeah, I suppose that works as well. But I think the idea is, if you can do it, you can do it in starters, and the event itself was I'm not going to say a failure because it isn't. It's still fun, whatever. But it could have been improved and done better by CIG, not the community. The community did what they can. That org that won't be named, starting in V, ending in Guard, they did something that's in the game. They can do that. There's nothing against that, and obviously no disrespect to any of the streamers or people that out there run these orgs and whatever. All they did was they did something in the game that they can do. The problem was it's an event that wasn't optimized for the state of the game at the minute, or wasn't run in the way that I personally believe it should have been. So the event is whatever it is. It was done as good as it can.
Which wasn't so great.
Which wasn't so great.
So I think that's one thing that we love this game. We all play it. I think it's the only thing that we have been playing. I mean, like for God knows how long now. I've been here since 2013. Like I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here all the way through. But I think we're getting to that point now where we want to have our we want to get our thought out there. We want to help because they're so close to getting such a good environment players, and I think what we're seeing is we're getting a lot of the game is very dictated by the combat currently because it's one of the only fully fledged role like professions that you can do. And that will change in time, but it hasn't happened yet. And with the way servers are, I think CIG and the community have a responsibility to understand how to manage expectations and how to incentivize the community into the most optimum form of gameplay. And we just had Keiko just write that so don't know how CRG has not been a powerful tool. FOMO.
Yeah, we covered this.
Simple events, something as small as unique as armor rewards. We're talking small rewards because everyone should be rewarded for taking part. And I know that sounds like Care Bear land, but it's true. Like the people that do take part should get something, and then the people that excel and do exceptionally well should get something greater. But if you wipe off your slate for the weekend, turn up to an event, and that event doesn't even seem to take place, then you're going to have problems. You're going to generate a negative output, and you're going to see people go to different games because they're disappointed by what they've seen. So there's definitely room for improvement. I definitely think that having ships go on sale through events like this is certainly something that I'm personally interested in, because I want to back and help the project out. And I want to do it through awesome gameplay as well. So I think the golden ticket was a great idea. I think the platinum ticket was probably a bridge too far. And I think they should definitely sort of take it out of the hands of the developers and give it more into the NPCs and spread it out as much as possible, and just make it so that they have it ticking over the event every like 3 hours or so. So in that time frame, you definitely have a chance of playing it a number of times, so you feel like you had a shot. That's where I think that the work needs to be. But yeah.
I think if they look
they're
at
going to
their
run a community
depth,
event.
you
If
go.
they're going to run a community event, ask the community to design the event rather than just throwing an event out there. I think it would be a potential point they could work on.
This sounds like the scene that Big
we-
Daddy is like, I win. Why?
Yeah,
I win.
yeah.
Some voices do shout louder, and I mean,
That's why I said ask the community, not ask the streamers.
yeah.
So I'm going to disagree with Ethan. I don't think you should get an award just for showing up. I'm very much against the award for showing up thing. If you do an event, you complete the event, then maybe you get a badge or something like that. That's fine. But in-game stuff, I don't know.
What about the CDF armor? Did you like that?
Yeah, that was fine. I don't know.
There you go.
Magnus over here
Yeah,
wants to
I
close the
know,
borders.
Yeah, I don't know. I think as far as this event goes, I think the mistake is they put it out there when it wasn't done. They said it was going to be a certain kind of event, and then it was not that. They put out they did it to sell a ship, which I think is also kind of lame right now, especially when you're at a point where you don't need to do that. Everyone's in love with what's coming out. Work on this next patch. Get this next patch out. Have a big ship sale during this next patch. Trust me, they'll sell ships if people are excited about this next patch. And as far as the interesting, just make that an actual event, but get it done right. Don't. Oh, it's crashing into planets. Well, if it's crashing into planets, don't put it out. It's that easy.
Don't put it near a planet. There's space, and as we all know, it takes about. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to get from Crusader to Microtech, or depending on the quantum drive, could be a lot longer. They even mentioned, and there's something that we didn't highlight, which I do want to highlight before we do end tonight. But One Dark, do you remember I sent you that post, the tweet that Xylo put out very
yes.
quickly? That should be something that's flagged. But CIG, I really applaud them on how responsive they were on this, because there was players that got the Idris and then they just jumped to an area of the system where smaller ships couldn't get there because they just weren't able to. So they jumped on this. Do you want to take that away?
Yeah, so the reason I didn't really bring this one up is because, I mean, it's conflicting and you're never going to know the truth. So the org that took over the ship landed it just outside Microtech, stating that they were going to allow everyone to come in and see it. Are you going to allow everyone to sit in the seat? Of course they're not going to. But it's, it's armistice zone. So they knew, if I land and let everyone on, no one's killing me, and they get loads of time on the ship. As it happens, that ship got impounded. I don't know if that was CIG going. I was dead by this point. The front door to me looked open. It was on my stream, it was open. It was on Oli43's stream that it was open. But on someone else's, I've literally flown into the side, and they've got a picture of me just as I was just about to blow up. They said they wanted to let everyone on. I think it's quite a transparent thing. But yeah, we were the hangar doors are broken. They probably were. They probably were, though. To be fair, if I'm dying to an open hangar door and it's closed, then there might be some juice to the the squeeze. But
Which hang you're at? Yeah, I'm at hangar 32. There isn't a hangar 32, but I swear I'm at hangar 32.
Yeah, that's the reason I didn't bring that part of it up. But yeah, it was really responsive, and I think Xylo saw through that as well. Applause to him and the rest of the team at CIG for being responsive, and trying to give everyone the best opportunity, really. So I guess that kind of summarizes where we're at, isn't it, with this event? Hopefully there'll be many more that spawn, and it might be nice to see things like this just pop up unannounced. There's no way. Oh my god, it's come out again. There's no better way to run an event if everyone thinks they've got a chance.
Oh, for God's sakes. Why haven't you burned that yet?
Because it's Drake. It wouldn't burn if you tried it. It would just perpetually be on fire.
I bet you haven't done that 1,000-piece puzzle behind you, have you?
No, it's my wife's. I don't do puzzles.
Too hard for you.
Yeah, they are. I got a 6-piece one I can't finish.
Is that a gun?
I don't know. He's got a Pico there, so like, profs.
Leave the Pico alone.
Leave the
Should we,
Pico alone.
I mean, this is the first, third episode, but first, we had a lovely audience today.
Yes, it's been fantastic. Thank you for your participation.
Yeah, and I just want to shout out to Holan, if I may. He shouted, "Where's my swag?" So, yeah, what kind of swag would you want if you were to take part in an event? I would like, I see this coffee machine. I don't want that. I really want to shout out to CIG here. Not all of us are coffee drinkers. Some of us like tea. Please have a kettle,
Not
a whistling
microwave.
kettle.
Excuse me. No, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to advocate for not coffee. That's what you don't get to do.
Coffee.
Right? In my life, coffee's life. All right. So let's just.
You didn't say that when I sent you tea over to America.
I get it. You sent me tea to Italy. It was not America.
Okay, va bene.
Let's just,
you loved
America.
it.
America runs on Duncan. All right, get demonetized. I don't know. Listen, the point is that you don't get to sit there and just not be okay.
I want my concierge kettle. Okay.
They already have a microwave in a bunch of ships. What more do you
do not microwave water. We've been over this. You do not microwave water. That is absolutely awful. Can the audience chime in, please? Microwaving water, is it okay in game? Yay or nay?
And is it a war crime? Absolutely.
Yeah.
To the British, that is
what he said.
What he said.
We'll go to war for
We need to summon the inner.
It is war crime. Thank you, Explorer, for confirming this.
Explorer is the credible source. You need more people.
I mean,
wait, what did Explorer say on Twitch?
He said it is a war crime.
Thank you. Okay, I was about to say something awful to him there for a second, but I'll hold my tongue for now. So yeah, CIG concierge kettle, please. Can we get this? Can we make this a thing?
Listen,
can this be a thing?
CIG needs to give me a paint for the 890 jump before they give you a damn concierge kettle.
All right.
Back
on task here.
I seen something. No, we'll go off very slightly. I did see someone mock up a sort of like a proper black paint, but where the apertures are is like painted gold around, and yeah, it looks smart. That you would pay serious money for that.
Yeah.
I know.
Executive 890. That's pretty much what it was, right?
Could you imagine?
Jump Hyperion edition.
Yeah. I mean, like Executive 600i, Executive 890. Maybe to tie it back into events. See what I'm going to do here. They should do like a platinum ticket where you get like a couple of 890s for Executive, and they just, I don't know, you just sort of like waltzing around. You're eating your Benny's noodles in game, and then you find out that congratulations, you've won a platinum ticket inside your Benny's noodles.
That would be incredible.
I'd be all for that.
Yeah. Do you remember like opening a bag of crisps And you get like that little blue sachet that had like a £5 note in it.
Is it soul or is it a £5 note? I remember kids becoming heroes on my playground. Just open up money, real flick it money. Yeah.
You felt amazing, and that's what I think CIG could do. Like a little bit out of the box thinking with the events. Everything doesn't have to result in combat. Because I mean, I like combat, but not everyone else does. I know there's a lot of people that we see sort of like they just wait for salvaging events and stuff like that. So can you imagine breaking down a ship? You break down a ship, and then in the cargo contents of it or something like that, there's a rare, ultra rare thing in the loot pool. Like there's a cargo container, you scanned it, confidential material, you open a box, there's like a special event item in that. I think that is something would be just make everyone go in the game. It's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory and like finding the golden ticket. That's.
I think you mean Willy Wonka,
which is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah,
Willy Wonka is the character.
No, Willy Wonka is the newer version, isn't it? It's not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for the new one.
I think Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is the actual original one.
Oh, he's doing the pose. He's doing the pose. Chips. That is the thumbnail.
It's confirmed. Oompa Loompas for Star Citizen. There we go.
All right. So first off, that is gross that they put money in your bags of chips.
It was sealed in plastic.
So let's start there, because money is disgusting.
Why do you hate us? And our tea drinking ways.
Because money is gross. Do you know what's on money? I don't want that in my food.
This was a brand new note that had been folded up so many times into a tiny little plastic thing. Like you get the little bags of like silicone, except it was kind of like that sort of sized little bag. And then they took it out because it became a choke hazard. So,
didn't deserve the money.
There's the knowledge.
For those of you out there listening, we want to know what events have you seen and how do you think they could tie in nicely into the world of Star Citizen?
I know what event I want to see. Bar Citizen next weekend, 2nd of March. I think we've still got a couple of tickets left. It's going to be up in the Brewdog Manchester, the Doghouse, and CIG are going to be there in numbers. So, if you want swag, maybe that's the place to go.
Let's do this. Yeah.
And
fist bump.
No. You don't do that.
I can't reach you.
I'm just letting you know that the original movie was called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
He's literally just been Googling that for the last 5 minutes since we saw
Google doesn't count.
It was like 30 seconds. The second one was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay.
But
what about the book that preceded the film?
We're not talking about none of that.
I just want to
talk about none of that.
I just want to go back to Bar Citizen quickly because there is one thing that I do want to announce that we don't get enough chance to, but there is train strikes happening on the weekend. So anyone listening that is going, anyone going up from London, trains from London to Manchester aren't there. You can go from Milton Keynes to Manchester. Apparently because of train strikes or engineering works. So if you're like me, if you're traveling up from what has been called by some of our closest friends the filthy south, make sure you plan your journey and get there and don't miss out on the fun.
We're not going to go over where the north-south divide is. The Americans haven't had a civil war like that. We are not touching on that. That is one.
We almost killed each other about ships.
Okay, cool. So I feel this is probably a good place to close out and go Idris hunting. So, anyone else got anything to say?
I think Justified does.
Yes. We'll see you next week.
Why did you shout yes to that?
Wait,
what's wrong?
I must be looking at a different chat.
No,
I just wait.
It's Explorer saying representing from Netherlands next week.
We're closing out, and Justified's just put what we need in SC, and it looks like there's an angry sticker of Kermit the Frog. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but we can cover that next week. Thank you very much.
Continued.
We've been SynCronus, and enjoy Idris hunting.